marketing space, if you're not using AI just yet, you have to do it. You have to figure out how to implement it within your process, within your processes, how to tech enable your product, being a service with the help of AI, because you're gonna be irrelevant soon.
And welcome to a new episode of Digital Coffee Marketing Brew. And I'm your host, Brett Deister. If you could please subscribe to this podcast on all your favorite podcasting apps, give a 5-star review. It really does help with the rankings. Let me know how I am doing. But this week, we're going to talk about digital marketing and AI, the thing that we can never get away from ever. AI is great to a certain extent, but we always have to talk about it. But with me, I have Ivan. He's the CEO and co-founder of Comrade Digital Marketing Agency. He's a respected digital marketing firm with prominent locations in Chicago, Miami, and Austin. Recognized for his visionary leadership, Ivan steers the company with a strategic focus that keeps it at the forefront of industry trends with consistently exceeding client expectations. Welcome to the show, Ivan.
Well, thank you so much, Brad. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, and the first question that's all my guests is, are you a coffee or tea drinker?
Actually, both. I like my coffee in the morning to get my energy level up, and then midday I usually go for a green tea cup as well. And then at night I could easily go with decaffeinated, something herbal.
Let's call that fake coffee, but I mean, it's each his own.
Yeah, but it goes well.
And I gave a brief summary of your expertise. Can you give our listeners a little bit more about what you do?
Absolutely. So as you mentioned already, I am the CEO and one of the partners at Comrade Digital Marketing. We at Comrade, we help local service businesses grow using inbound marketing strategies. We're truly experts in search engine marketing, and we focus on three main pillars. First, creating high-performance websites that are built for conversions. Second pillar is SEO and content marketing. And finally, a paid search that attracts top-of-the-funnel potential customers.
Got you. And how has AI transformed digital marketing strategies in the recent year? And what emerging AI technologies do you see as a game changer for the industry?
So definitely AI has been a talk for quite some time, even before ChatGPT. I was part of Roundtable where various marketers were concerned with the potential power of AI because of all the developments that were happening. As soon as ChatGPT became popular, obviously we started using it as one of the tools. Number one, obviously, we use it in content development, keyword research, and some of the SEO deliverables. We don't write content specifically with the help of ChatGPT exclusively because we're concerned that eventually Google is going to get rid of or is going to devalue all the content that's generated by the robots. And there are ways to fake it, there are ways to make it more human, and so on. But our approach is we use content editors who are real people, right? And who are subject matter experts who review the drafts of the content that's generated with specs that are provided by our team, and all the content that's then generated with ChatGPT, and then personalize it at various necessary points and so on to ensure that it's first of all, the tone of voice is right. It represents our customers. We say what we want to say in the piece, right? And we are very deep in our piece. So we feed, let's say, ChatGPT or some of the AI tools that we use for content generation with very specific, very detailed information as far as here's what we need to explain in this topic. Here's why we're better than, let's say, our competitors. Here's how our process is different from our competitors, and so on. So at the end, our piece of content is not generic. And that's what most of marketers get nowadays is they quickly generate a piece. It's very generic. It's like many other pieces of content that's generated by the same AI, and it doesn't have any value. We believe that this content is no longer going to be prioritized by Google, going to be devalued. So that's obviously area where we had to jump with our, with the AI, because why wouldn't we? I mean, it saves us a ton of time. It provides us with ability to be more cost effective. We, had to let go of a few writers that were no longer efficient. Instead, we're focused more on content editing and so on. And then secondly, we use AI for our internal automation processes, which, AI is great when it comes to repetitive processes or repetitive pieces of work. So one of the areas where we have implemented AI successfully, which is great, we every single month we provide a report to our client where we explain what was done for the previous month in terms of activities, as well as what kind of results we generated over the past month. In that report, we usually provide a breakdown of how many marketing qualified leads we generated for specific channels. Let's say it's paid search or SEO and so on. So we have team members that manually review every single lead, qualified it, and then tally it up all together and put it all in the form of a report for our client. Using AI as sort of a machine learning algorithm that can do it for us and replace human beings. We've built our own system that actually captures all of the leads, reviews the transcript of every single lead that comes through a form of chat, form, or phone call, and then analyzes, hey, is this a lead or is this some sort of solicitation or repeat customer? Or maybe someone else. And if it's a lead, well, is this a good lead? Is this a 3-star lead, or is this a 2-star lead? Or we don't have enough information to qualify it properly. So we have the system that does it for all of our clients, and we have a crisp reports that demonstrate to our clients true ROI of our marketing services based on actual factual data.
I mean, it's funny that you say Google's going to be devaluing AI written stuff, but they have their own AI called Gemini that writes the stuff for them. So I feel like it's kind of a weird strategy for them, since they already have their own AI. Do it now. I do say don't abuse it, but let's be honest, we all kind of want to automate a lot of things. Maybe we should look at more blog posts a little bit more closely. We all want to automate more things than we don't. And blog posts are some ways. I mean, for podcasters, show notes are really the main thing that we automate quite a bit with AI, because I mean, that's the thing that we don't want to spend the most time on. So, I mean, it feels weird that Google's doing this, but I also understand they want to keep it authentic. But I don't really know where they're going to go with this, because they do have AI and they're limiting AI at the same time.
Yeah, and I think it's all gonna come down to EAT factor, which is going to be very, very. I mean, it already became super important in the sort of what content Google values the most and which websites are being ranked. Because how are you going to differentiate hundreds, thousands, millions of websites if they're all going to have the same generic content? The only difference, Google needs experts. Google needs to show to its users expert content. So how do you know which content is was provided by an expert? Well, by seeing if the website has an affiliation with an expert author. We specialize on working with lawyers a lot, and lawyers, healthcare, and home services. For home services, it's probably not as important. Well, but for healthcare and legal, it's vital to have a content be provided by an expert with the right expertise. Otherwise, this content can be harmful in some sense, right? So when you work on content, let's say using AI tools like ChatGPT and so on, I would certainly advise you to ensure that you're investing in promoting your expertise, showing it to the Google that it's worth listening to you because you're the subject matter expert.
Agreed. I mean, it varies between different industries. I mean, for like digital marketing, blog posts written by AI may be fine, because I mean, it's marketing. You should always check it. But yeah, for like laws, lawyers, and like medical stuff, probably should actually have a human actually be writing that content instead. I do think it varies between industry and to industry.
100%. Yeah. If it's more generic, like we have some e-com clients, and let's say we need to generate content for thousands of SKUs based on specifications and so on, that's a really easy repetitive task. You can easily offload it to AI, and AI will do a great job. And you will probably save yourself, hundreds of hours by not writing it yourself. But if it comes to topics like healthcare, for instance, or legal for that matter, or anything that where EET is super important. Yeah, and even if you use AI as your content generation tool, make sure you feed it with the information first. Make sure that AI is not just writing based on the data it gets from all the resources and all the websites out there, because it's going to be super generic. Feed it with very specific data. Explain your thought process. And imagine that someone is asking you a very specific question, like, hey, what would you do in this case or that case? How would you respond to them? Feed this information to AI so that AI can provide a more detailed, more crisp answer.
Gotcha. And so, I mean, moving on to like, what are some of the unconventional digital marketing tactics that you found to be surprisingly effective?
Well, we always stick to the foundation, right? The foundation is you need to make sure your content has a great quality. If it's not, then most likely your dwell time is not going to be good, and Google will see it, and Google will deprioritize those websites, right? Then things like backlinks. Backlinks are super important still. I mean, it's the fundamental piece. We see definitely a shift in which backlinks work nowadays versus a year ago. So we prioritize more of citations and getting quotes from various high quality places that have very high rankings. In the past, we would just buy a ton of links from industry specific websites, mid-tier links, not very expensive, and it would do the job. Now it doesn't work quite as well. So we have to rely on more of organic backlinks. So for many of our clients, what we do is we have all kinds of statistics. For us, we do that as well. For instance, we have blog posts that are very appealing to places that cite our information as far as like digital marketing stats. According to Comrade, so and so many websites are using blah, 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 blah. So we generate those articles so that our pieces can be picked up by journalists and so on. So that's as far as the backlinks. Technical SEO, that's also a fundamental piece. We, Google constantly updates its algorithm, and recently we noticed that very slow websites have been prioritized quite heavily. One of our main websites for one of our brands, we have neglected for some time, and it's been working fine. And all of a sudden, it's seen a huge dip. So we started digging around, and we found that the technology hasn't been updated lately. So the core web vitals are, quite low. They're not passing. So we had to work on that. So it all comes down to fundamentals. It's not like there's one silver bullet, item that you can work on and all of a sudden it's going to give you the results. EAT is a very important factor too. So we constantly sharpen our knowledge, and we constantly look at how's the Google algorithm is reflecting on the growth of our client websites nowadays, and what do we need to change in our algorithm? What do we need to change in our process to stay on top of the trend? I don't know if I'm giving you specific enough information. If you want to dig in, deeper in any of those areas, I'm happy to.
No, it's fine. It seems like the unconventional is the traditional way.
The traditional way, but still realizing what Google does nowadays, because it's still it's changing, right? With algorithm changes, with the addition of AI and so on, like you have to be a little more focused. You have to be a little more specific and a little more intentional. With all the AI content now being shown in the Google search results, with Search GPT coming out, we as SEO specialists, for instance, now faced with the question, how are we going to make sure that our content is going to appear in Search GPT? Not only Google, but also Search GPT or Perplexity, for instance. I don't know if you tested Perplexity. It's not quite as good yet, but I think eventually it's going to be a serious competitor to Google.
Yeah, I've tested that Claude Llama. I've tested quite a bit of the different models. It For all those models, especially AI, it depends on what you're going to use with it. I feel like sometimes Gemini is better for writing like template scripts than ChatGPT. At times, it's not always one on one, but like I said, it really depends on what you're asking it, because some are better than others about different things. So it's never like a one shot. Like it's always, this one's always that good. It's like, well, it's good at specific things.
But I think they're going to be, and it's not just me, everyone highlights the fact that there's going to be behavioral change of how users are using search engines and so on. There are more and more Gen Z users that are going to Instagram or TikTok, for instance, to search for information. So we as marketers have to adapt, and that's something that we look at. We're constantly asking ourselves, hey, what could put us out of the business in the next 3 to 5 years? And we constantly have to adapt, because I believe the next 3 to 5 years are going to be quite different for us marketers as opposed to how it was, the last 3 to 5 years.
So is SEO just becoming more segregated? Let's say you have TikTok SEO, you have Pinterest SEO, because Pinterest does have kind of their own search function. You have chat search, you have Bing, you have Google Net, you still have Google, and then I'm pretty sure YouTube search or whatever else comes out for the actual SEO of the video side, plus the written side, plus if there actually is ever SEO for podcasts, which could happen as well.
Which could happen, yeah. And now they call it everywhere search. It used to be Google search, it used to be Bing search, and so on. Now they call it everywhere search, because you have to clearly identify who's your target audience and where do they shop. For our legal clients, I mean, so far so good. No one is looking for a lawyer on their Instagram or their TikTok. That's not going to happen. They would still go to Google or maybe Search GPT when it becomes more relevant, right? And going to give out more proper information. So we're quite secure there. But for more of a like beauty products or any of services that are bought by Gen Z, for instance, audience, you have to figure out other channels. Otherwise, you're gonna lose the share. You're not gonna be relevant. So that would be my advice to any of the marketing agencies that are thinking about the future and what to do. That we all have to watch out for the next levels of AI, because they're going to be a lot more specific AI algorithms to conquer places. Things like, how do I become more relevant in Instagram search, or how do I become more relevant in TikTok search?
Yeah, I would imagine like the lawyers and the doctors would be better served through LinkedIn and through the content through there, because that's more specific to like the business side of things. And since they now have vertical videos, they just switch from square to vertical. It's probably more important to figure out how to do the short form content through LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn has never been a long form content social media site as it is.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't explore much of LinkedIn strategies as we should. And you rightfully highlighted that. We're trying to figure out what Search GPT is going to bring to the table when it's going to come out. Because I believe fair amount of users are going to probably start using that. And we don't know what that's gonna do to Google, how Google is going to react. I think Google is still going to be very much relevant, because they have been doing this for 26 years. and their content is very much relevant, very much up to date. When we've done our searches with AI, Perplexity, for instance, it gives you information, but it's not always accurate information. Like it could be outdated information. It could be not, the intent might be not there. And Google has done a phenomenal job, and I think that would be the differentiating point moving forward for Google.
Always check your work, especially with AI.
Right.
I mean, moving into that is just the personalization. How is that going to play a part? Because we just kind of talked about the SEO role and how diversified it's going to be eventually. Is that going to be even more important in the next 5 to 10 years, where you're just going to have to figure out search strategies for all these different places just because of the generational differences? And plus, we don't even know what Gen Alpha is going to do for search either.
That's a really good question. I think it becomes really, really difficult for generalist agencies. We have been a generalist agency for our first 12 years of our development of our journey, and it became quite difficult when you market an e-com that sells beauty products, or when you market a law firm, or when you market a healthcare, let's say, med spa practice. The behavior is quite different. The target audience is quite different. The approaches are quite different. So we build a focus that we need to niche down, and I think that's what, in order to be successful, I think marketing agencies just have to find their niche. You just have to figure out what does it mean in terms of their industry. What does AI going to do to their industry in the next 3 to 5 years, and start preparing now, start building towards it. But if you're a generalist agency, there's no way you can be on top of all of that.
Instead of just saying you're a digital marketing agency, maybe eventually they should look at being like, hey, we specialize in podcast marketing. We specialize in AI marketing. We specialize in SEO, local SEO, or whatever else comes up.
That could be one way of specializing, or it could be vertical specialization. It could be, hey, we specialize in legal marketing, and we know everything about that. We know how your target audience is searching for you. We know how they make decisions. So we built in the process that builds every single necessary component in order to capture your audience, convert your audience, then nurture your audience, and then eventually sell them your services. And that's what we're trying to do. But the reason why we chose legal, home service, and healthcare, because the recipe is quite similar. They're still very much local service businesses. EAT factor is quite important, right? So we were able so far generate results with pretty much the same strategy. In the future, might not be possible, so we might have to get even more deeper and become, specialists not only in legal, for instance, but very much in like subset of legal. Let's say just personal injury, or subset of healthcare. Let's say just med spas, or just eye surgeons, for instance, right? Because once again, there might be different behaviors within the healthcare space or within the legal space. But I think in order to be successful, you have to specialize, you have to become hyper-focused, and you have to show your expertise. And when you speak with the potential client or with the existing client, it's really easy to make an assumption that, wow, he really understands our industry. He really understands, or she really understands our gaps, our what we're struggling with. And this strategist or this specialist really knows how to get me my results.
And I mean, when we're talking about SEO and the different ones, how important is video marketing going to start playing when we're talking about SEO and video and everything? Because everybody loves video. Everybody wants to watch video. I mean, YouTube isn't popular because it just was YouTube. It's because there's so much video and so much information you can learn, or entertainment as well. So how important will video marketing eventually be when it seems like everything's being taken over by video?
Our team believes it's going to be vital in order for you to dominate search. That's going to be one of the personalization factors, right? Like everyone can generate content, written content, but not everyone can generate an effective video content. If you have both, then you're going to be a lot more effective and a lot more relevant. As a matter of fact, YouTube has been number 2 search engine for quite some time and still is very much relevant. So generating content for YouTube, optimizing content for YouTube, there's a separate SEO optimization for YouTube videos, right? Like super, super important. The challenge with that is for us marketers, if we work with many clients, like I'm not gonna lie, most of our clients are not going to generate video content. They just don't have time. Especially if we talk about lawyers, for instance, they don't think it's important. They're always busy in the court. They always tell us, well, this is, content generation is your job, but obviously we can't generate video content for them. So that becomes a problem. How do you make a video content for, your clients? What are the ways out there? And I know there are AI tools in the video content space that are eventually going to help us do that, right? With, you can just plug in some script, put a video or a picture of your client, and then it's going to look like that, person is given the speech.
It's not even that as well, but how will people react to it when more of that becomes prevalent? Because I've seen the tools. They do have virtual like presenters, I guess is the best way of saying it, that you can tell it what to say and will say it to you, but how will people react to it when it eventually becomes like a prevalent, mostly good tool? I don't think they're that good right now. I think they still have, just like AI, they have a ways to go. I've used like AI generation for video stuff, and the thing I typed in could barely get it right, and it wasn't good.
It's not there yet. Yeah, for sure, 100%. But eventually, I mean, if we talking about 3 to 5 year horizon now, I think we'll get there with how fast the technologies are developing.
So for those that are in the marketing industry or starting to get in, how important is it for them to understand how to use AI right now? Because we've been talking about it a lot, and it is a disruptor. Whether we like it or not, it's a disruptor.
Oh, it's a must. Oh, if you're in the marketing space, if you're not using AI just yet, you have to do it. You have to figure out how to implement it within your process, within your processes, how to tech enable your product, your being a service with the help of AI, because you're gonna be irrelevant soon, and we're going to see acceleration of AI technology in the next 3 to 5 years. That's my prediction, and I'm more than sure I can bet on it. So if you're not implementing AI right now, it might be a little too late down the road. I mean, some agencies will probably keep the relationships with the happy customers, and that's gonna work out great for them. But if we're talking about future, if we're talking about scalability, if we're talking about ability to acquire new clients in the future, it's gonna be really hard, because there are going to be other marketing agencies, competitors, with an edge over you being an AI. They can produce content much faster. They can use AI for personalization. They can use AI for, in the future, for video generation or whatever else, for newsletters, whatever, podcasts, maybe even, and that's going to make them a lot more streamlined and more effective. So they could easily drive the cost down, or they could drive the profitability up. It's up to them. It's going to be really, really hard to compete against them if you don't have that edge.
Is there any like tips to like how to figure out how to do this? Because I mean, I remember starting out, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. How do I do this? I mean, there's prompts, but you have to tell it the right thing or it won't actually do the right thing. Like when Google was new.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you don't have anyone on your team that's tech savvy, that likes, likes to go around, explore things, and can quickly demo, how AI can benefit your agency, I would advise looking for a roundup table or meetups, various agencies. I'm part of two of those this type of meetings where various marketing agency leaders are coming to place and share our stories or how we use AI or various other subjects, and it can quickly give you some ideas on how you can implement AI within your agency. Not only that, you can easily set up a coffee meeting with one of those agencies, and you can ask them, hey, could you help me out? Could you share with me how AI helped you, how you implemented it within your practice, right? We do it all the time. I get ideas all day long from those meetings, big or small.
And people listening to this episode and they're wondering, where can they find you online to learn more about you or your company?
Yeah, you can always email me at ivan@comradeweb.com. You can always find my LinkedIn profile on my website as well, on our website in the About Us section. You might write me a DM, no problem. I'll be happy to respond. And any questions you have, happy to provide value.
Any final thoughts for listeners?
Utilize and use AI. Those would be my two final thoughts. Hopefully that conversation was clear why.
All right, Ivan, thank you for joining Digital Coffee Marketing Brew and sharing your knowledge on AI and digital marketing.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you for having me here.
And thank you for listening. As always, please subscribe to this podcast on all your favorite podcasting apps. Leave a 5-star review. It will just help with the rankings. Let me know how I am doing. And join me next week as I talk to another great thought leader in the PR industry. All right, guys, stay safe. Get to understanding AI. Just look at one and try to figure that one out first and then go on to the other ones. And see you next week. Later.